So, hi everyone. Let me check quickly if I'm live. Okay, awesome. So, I'm live finally, and after a long time, I'm doing this stream again. So, let me quickly just one second. Okay, let me quickly just recap through the things. Let's start from here. Maybe I'll just quickly skim through these things. After that, I think last time I went through till here. After that, yep, happy practices, and in full stack React, I think there is Next.js. Yeah, and then we have Framer Motion and interactive blog, like how Josh's website has been. Okay, so without getting delayed, let's get started. Let's start from here. So this is for getting phantom. These three parts of the UI were powered by separate views, and those views were getting out of sync. But Facebook is tremendously complex app with hundreds of adding new features, moving faster and repeating every week. Some new edge cases would crop up. It was like playing a whack-a-mole. Every time the fix didn't work, a new one would pop up. The team eventually solved this problem by migrating to an experimental new internal tool. React. This problem, along with so many others, disappeared. Okay, I think I have watched this video, so I'll not watch it again. About React is that we don't have to worry about putting our state and our UI in sync. With React, we are discovering what we want the UI to be based on the current application state. React takes those descriptions and makes it real. Okay, this is just an intro. Okay. Now, this is, I think this one will show the lines. Okay, this one says, okay. I think this one should revert back to the code to the normal. Fine. So what is it? Let's start with the hello world using pure JavaScript. We start with the two files. Breadbone system document and then let's make file name and React. We end up with the fabric that displays text hello world. Alright, sorry, I got a call in between. Okay, let's just continue. There are lots to unpack here. If you're up for it, though, I'd encourage you to spend a couple of minutes looking and plotting at this example, what you can figure out. So, at the very we have two input statements. It is JavaScript module system. Platform agnostic, we have the core React package, and then there are different platform specific vendors. React DOM for web, React Native for mobile, React Fiber for 3D scenes using WebGL and 3JS. So every platform has its own primitives, a set of built-in elements we use to create our UI. Div PM button, text view unpressable, React 3 Fiber, which come from the React package. But when it comes to actually turning all of the business logic into a user interface, we need the correct bindings for our platform. This is actually a terrific thing, but it means that the skills you've been learning can also be used to build mobile apps or 3D interfaces if that's where your interest or your career takes you. Blueprint for a specific underdome is the car itself zipping around the city. In your right click and show inspect element to open the element screen. You are interacting with them. You can change the attributes and also you are updating response. In user tool like React, it was for interacting with DOM by JavaScript and create, update and delete. DOM stands for document object model. Next up, the following code. 3 or more arguments. First is the type of the element to create. Next is the properties we want this element to have, and the element concept. We can omit if the element should be empty. This function returns a React element. React elements are posers. If we inspect its console.log, we'll see something like this. Key ref and the props. One is the ID and the other is the children with that, and this description of hypothetical paragraph type with an ID of hello containing the text hello world used to construct the actual paragraph. You can see in browser that this course will also learn about key and ref. The final two properties, owner and store, are meant to be used internally by React and can be safely ignored by us. The DOM is organized as a tree. Much like a family tree, individual elements can have parents and grandparents, siblings and children. For example, consider this document. The main element has a body as its parent, has a single child, the P element, and the single sibling footer. The hierarchy needs to be part of the library referencing CSS and ready selectors like this. As a React elements can specify children users and language able to open a form of the resource from the student under the application. And maybe to last two lines of the code and space the other is space. This element should be the root of our application. And finally, we render the application with the root.render element. Render function is a machine that converts React elements into terminals. In this case, our React element describes a paragraph tag with an ID and some text inside. Render will turn the description into the following DOM structure. With the DOM element created, it then adds it to the page at specified route. In essence, this code takes a JavaScript based was rendered in 2017 and earlier. The API was changed to create root and render combo shown as above. Like this. Like that. Like this. script tag when we don't have a script tag. The thing to know about React is that it's used within a build system. So currently here with our inputs to the system, we can see this first and by inspecting in the result iframe where we sit. Okay, here we have something and this is something. Okay, this one. Script tag is dynamically indexed into the HTML. The important thing to know for now is that there's an active process that transforms the files we write. If we haven't used other JS languages or looking fairly over-engineered, why can't we add our code hours using script tag the way we do when working with jQuery and other libraries? In React that often have hundreds or even thousands of JS files that need to be bundled together. Okay, let's quickly watch that video. I'll turn off the music for a while. Let me turn off the music for a while and let's check that video. Let's go here.
So there's something a little bit strange, a little bit curious about the playground we've been looking at in this lesson. I have this chunk of JavaScript, and if I change something in it, it does appear to be working, right? I see the result of that change happening in the result pane in the DOM over here. But if I look at the HTML file, how exactly is this JavaScript actually running? Like, there isn't any sort of script tag that I would expect to see that would pull in that JavaScript and allow it to work. And while we're talking about it, I would also expect to see React.js and maybe React DOM, right? This is how it works when we use something like jQuery, where we have some HTML file that we're working on, and then we add the scripts that we need. How is it possible to not have that when we're working with React? Well, the thing to understand is that React is always used as part of a build system. The build system will take the files that we write and it processes them. It gets them ready to actually be used. And so if I inspect this over here, and by the way, all of the result panes in this course platform use an iframe. So we see it over here, there's an iframe that injects an entirely separate HTML file. And if I dig in to this HTML file, and I'll make it a bit bigger, we see that there's a bunch of stuff that gets added, including not one, but actually several script tags that include the code that we've written as well as any dependencies like React and any other dependencies that React itself happens to need. The files that I write, the index.html, is an input file that is then processed into the final version. And so it takes all the JavaScript, it takes all the stuff that we could possibly need, and compiles it into a file that will actually run in the browser. Now, to be clear, I don't expect you to understand what all of these tags are or what they're doing here. The important thing to understand for now is that what we're actually working with is not the full picture. All these files will get processed in some way. And so if you're wondering if something seems like magic, that it seems to be violating the rules of the web platform, it's not actually doing anything that sophisticated. It's that it's processing the files that we write to get them ready for production. Now, I do realize if you're coming to this from maybe a jQuery background, a PHP background, if you haven't worked with other JS frameworks before, this probably seems wildly over-engineered. Why wouldn't we stick with the tried and true method of adding script tags for the dependencies and then for the code that we actually want to run and keep our HTML files, right? Be able to add React to our existing projects rather than needing to introduce this whole complicated system. Well, there's a lot of reasons for that. For one thing, as we're going to talk about in the next lesson, React uses a proprietary syntax called JSX, and the browser doesn't understand this syntax, so we have to transform it to JavaScript. There's also a lot of quality of life things, like because we have this process, we can transform the modern JavaScript that we're writing. We can take advantage of all the nice new features, but trust the process to compile them into browser-friendly JavaScript, something that'll work in Internet Explorer and other older browsers. It also just isn't really feasible to do things the old way because React applications tend to be pretty large. We have hundreds, if not thousands, of JavaScript files. Those files have dependencies on each other. So believe it or not, it actually would be much, much more difficult to do things in the typical way when it comes to React. So I promise you, the trade-off of having this complicated build system is absolutely a good one, and it's something that we'll learn more about in this course.
Okay. Okay, I think I reduced the background noise a bit. I think this should be fine, I guess. Okay, this should be fine, and hope it's not shadowing my voice. Fine, I think that's okay. By inspecting the element in the result iframe, and if you can see, we have, what is this, browsers fs along with the dependencies are bundled into cryptically named and script tag is dynamically inserted. Active process that transforms the files we write. If you haven't used using script tag that way we do when using jQuery or other JSX needs to be compiled into it. Enables quality of life improvements like being able to use leading edge features. And so React apps have thousands or JS files that need to be bundled together. What is this browser fs.bfs? Let me just check. Browser fs. What is this? Nicely into the other system. Okay. Storing and retrieving from various backends. BrowserFS also integrates nicely into the. This is something new. For more information, see the wiki. There's no wiki. Okay, there's something. Home. Browser compatibility. Not all file system backend support all. For example, if the browser does not have local storage support, the local storage backend will not work properly. To check if a file system supports the current browser at runtime, use the isAvailable method on the file system constructor. Custom builds. The default library shifts with every backend in one convenient file. However, you may wish to make a smaller build with only backends you need. Repo and ensure you can build it in front. Change the required JS configuration. Include property to only list the backends you want. In build outro.js, change the require line so that it only requires the backends you want. Okay. Programs can interface with local storage. Familiarity with the file systems. Writing programs that interact with them, especially if you have ever used Node.js file system or the C API that is part of it. Okay. Okay, that is fine. Writing a backend. Various backends. Each backend can be thought of as a file system type. Backends determine where file data is determined to read from. Just give me a second. Okay, so what else we have? Please see the API documentation. So, what is the use of it? Use it like a browser file system. Okay, we can store the things inside this one. Like it's like a backend for the uh, a storage kind of for the front end applications. I'm assuming, and I think this is a kind of old tech. Let me ask this: what is the use of browser request? Entirely within the browser without needing a server-side storage. Okay, various storage backends and even in-memory storage for web apps that deal with many small files can improve performance by reducing the number of network requests offline by storing and accessing files locally in the browser without setting up a server. Okay. Okay, I'll look at this one later, like to proceed further. But I just got an overall idea of what this is. So let's just continue with this one. Build systems in this. You can show this summary by this. However, reading isn't really an adequate replacement for watching the access only intended to help with the review. Okay, let's check about this build systems. Do we have anything related to build system here? Nope. This is just an intro of tools of the trade. Okay, let's just go to the next module. Before that, let me also search build systems, React, build system frontend. Okay, this is some old one. Okay, so these are the installation tools like npm Power, and I'm not sure what this is. I'm looking at this for the first time. Okay, these help in installing the front-end apps and testing them, ensure they can install any code related things, doing things like Grunt, Webpack, Gulp. Mm. Okay, I got it. Concatenated and just modifying the placing the script happening. Once you understand that to install stuff or do stuff much easier, this will be installing and this will be doing. So and that's the same because I was doing it on incidental response that has an island developing more design. It has crystal and three linters with a core left side. Development from the has been filed inside it. After April 2 hash work gets merged. Okay. Location folder has just 4 files. Development folder line for the app is line for the line for line the same. Into a new small package we call a build. Okay, for high traffic sites, combination of tools. I think I turned off the audio, or is it coming? I think it's coming, but it's a bit low. This should be fine, I guess. Yeah, this should be fine. Oh, a little more. Yeah, this should be fine. Okay, so you can just use other few other tools on top of modern NVMe version for your Apple use, and then you grant both back or plus power. Mm-hmm. Mm. So yeah, currently like these days, most of the companies are using Webpack. When you get a chance to work on Webpack, you can only learn. It's like it's not like you can't learn it before that. If you try and fail, and then you learn, that sticks more into your head. Is what I feel actually. So using a build tool to its full potential memory is what called build to nirvana. Okay. Huh. Yeah, that's me, guys. I just dig the rabbit hole if I find something that I don't know. Okay, one of the best ways to learn how something works is to build your own simplified version of it. That takes you to produce a equivalent on structure as simple as possible. We move out with the create root API discussed in the previous lesson. UI we want a target terminal that will house our application. It's okay. The result pane should always show the UI described by the React element. It should contain an anchor tag which links to Wikipedia and contains the text to ignore on Wikipedia. It should work with any element type. It should handle all HTML attributes. Element should contain the text specified under children. You need to know how to interact with Tom to do things like create Tom element and append them to a page. Let me just okay, I'm just back now. Now I need to do this exercise. Fine. So it should always show the UI described by the React element. It should contain an anchor tag. Right now we just have only root. Then you need an anchor tag. That means you have to create an anchor tag. Const a equal to document dot create element. Let's say a may be, I don't know if it's the correct syntax. Let's check this. Oh, okay, wait. It should work with any HTML element type. All HTML attributes. The element should contain the text specified under the children. So we have something called React element, and we have something called children. So we have a function called render. We are passing the React element and we are passing the DOM element. So somehow we need to make sure that we are appending that element. One is a, and that has this props and with this text. So I think you need to have a div, maybe document or create element of, let's say if I do, if I pass React, so sorry, should be, okay, let me just copy this, create element of React element, let's call it as element, and let's say if I want to append that, now container DOM element dot append of, let's say element, will it show what I require? I'm not sure if it is, it seems like, where is the error on the document? Okay, let's cut this off and do. Try to console log of element, what would that be? Okay, let's just go back. What am I getting in the clear and to see? I'm getting an error. The tag name provider is, let me just check the documentation. I should have done this one first place. Okay, let's say we want to grab a reference, we grab it by this, and use queries like key, add some query selector like this also. First a tag inside the header set attribute. save off online. You can do that with the inner text. Appending nodes. Create element. One parameter which serves as the tag to be created. Maybe. Okay, I should parse element, create element dot type. That was the issue. It should be append child. Fine. So the issue here is element dot, we need to create a hyperlink, right? Element dot type. Now if I just save it, clear it, we don't have any. Okay, container DOM element dot append child. Okay, it will not be visible because you need to add the links. Then element dot href equal to create element will be to element dot href. Okay, first you took the type of it. Let's say you extract the things from that const type and props and let's say children equal to let's call it as react element, and here I used to give the type. Let's give the type, and here you are appending that element, but you also need the children. So element, how with the let me just check why console login what we have in the element right now. Console log of log of element. What do I have here? It just says HTML element. If I give the entire, okay, we should not do that. Just need the type and let's say now element dot href equal to props dot href and element dot children equal to children. I'm not sure if this is the correct way to do. Of course it's not. I'm getting some errors. Let me refresh it, save it. Nope. If you append it to that, it should show. Okay, let's check the solution. The type, okay, you need to give it as inner text. Okay, let's give it as inner text. Nice, now that is being shown, and after that this will solve our basic thing, but let's say should work with any type, and that will be handled by type, and handle all HTML attributes. Right now it is only taking care of href. If there is, let's say there is something in the future that needs to be handled, so for that we need this one. So that this is part 1. So part 2. Now here for const key of props, maybe props, what we need, key in, to say, okay, not of, okay, since it's an object it should be in, key in props DOM element dot set attribute, that will set the key, but you also need the value. For that you need const value equal to props of key, I guess so, yes, props of key. Now this will work with any element, okay, it should be key. Clear this, okay, that looks good. Let's check the solution. Before that,
So you've been tasked with building your own React, which is no small feat, and you haven't been given that much to go on, right? We have this React element, which is a JavaScript object that describes a hypothetical anchor tag that links to the Wikipedia homepage and has the text read more on Wikipedia, and we have to write a function that takes that element and a place to put it and turns it into reality, right? Realizes this DOM element. And I think in a task like this, it's helpful to enumerate the steps that we need to take. And so first I know that I need to create a DOM element, right? The actual anchor tag. Then I need to update it with all of the different properties, right? In this case, we have the href over here and the text inside. And then finally, we have to put it in the container. We have to actually take this element we've created and append it to this container so that it shows up in the DOM. So for step 1, I'm going to create a new variable, DOM element, and it's going to be equal to document.createElement. And when I do that, I get this error telling me that I need 1 argument and I've provided 0. And so because I know I want this to be an anchor tag, I need to supply this. But I also want to make sure that my render function is generic and can handle any type of different React element. So I'm going to read the property from this object. I'm going to say React element.type. For number 2, let's come back to that later because I sort of want to get this thing on the screen as soon as possible. And so for that, I'm going to say container DOM element.append child, and I'm going to pass DOM element. When I do that, we don't see anything, but that sort of makes sense because the anchor tag that we've created is empty. If we drill into the DOM over here, we see we have our div ID root, which is the container that we've started with, and inside we have an empty anchor tag. So we are clearly on the right path. So now for the properties itself, I'm going to say DOM element.innerText is equal to React element.children. And with that, we see the read more on Wikipedia text, which means the last thing that we have to do is add the href. Now I could do this with DOM element.setAttribute and set the href property equal to React element.props.href, right? Essentially hunt down this value from this nested object and set it to the href property. That does work. But again, I want this function to handle any React element, and other React elements might have other props, like maybe they have an ID of some link. And there are, like, even beyond the couple of dozen of standardized HTML attributes, there's an infinite number of custom ones because we have data attribute. Like we could say data number and set it to be 20 or whatever. And so really what we want to do is use some sort of iteration. And there's a whole bunch of ways we could do this. We could use object.entries or object.keys and then a for each loop. We could do some sort of fancy recursion thing. I'm going to keep things simple, and I'm going to use the trusty old for loop. I'm going to say const key in React element.props. And then for every key, well, I want to get the corresponding value. So I'm going to say const value is equal to react element.props and then access the key. And then I'm going to take this set attribute call and I'm going to make the two things dynamic. So I'm going to set whatever the key is to whatever the value is. And when I inspect this, it looks good, but let's double check. We do see that our anchor tag has the ID, it has the data attribute, it has all of the attributes that we've set because I'm iterating through whatever the key value pairs in this object are. So I'm pretty happy with this as a solution. I love exercises like this because they really help demystify something that probably seems very magical, right? We think that React does all of this complex, archaic stuff for us, and it does, right? Like there's stuff we haven't talked about here in terms of how React reacts to the things that change in our application. That's a big part of what makes React so special. But fundamentally, at the end of the day, React takes these object descriptions of DOM elements and it produces the real thing. If you've heard the term virtual DOM, it's not used so much anymore, but for a long time this was how they described how React works, because essentially you wind up with these JavaScript objects that describe a whole bunch of DOM, and React DOM takes those descriptions and mirrors them into the real DOM, which produces like links that you can click on and forms that you can submit and all of that. Fundamentally though, React DOM is this sort of translator, that it takes the descriptions we produce in JavaScript and produces and realizes the real version of them. And it does so using all the same methods we're talking about here, like document.createElement and setAttribute and appendChild. As things change in the DOM, React will use whichever method is most appropriate to convey those changes. And this is really like the core thing of React that a bunch of people don't understand. It's a JavaScript framework and it exists in JavaScript, and for all of the smoke and mirrors and all of the advanced stuff that it does, fundamentally it uses the exact same methods you would use if you were doing the same thing in JavaScript.
Okay. Okay, so that is the thing. Okay. Okay, let's get with the next exercise. Okay. Okay, just like yesterday, this happens when we set the children parameter of a React element to another React element. And a pretty significant restructure like this, and you definitely don't want to write like this. Because we can't return multiple things, not only this one, in general you can't return multiple JSX elements. Little JS file full of nested React.element calls. Where is it? Yes, skipping the React import, you can skip it because by default the reactability you get it. You can directly write, you can skip this and just execute in the JSX file. Yeah, so JSX transformer. It will get compiled to this one. This one const element, this gets a const element equal to underscore JSX. Our original code didn't include that import statement. It was included automatically by the compiler. The fancy optimized version of okay, it includes some shortcuts when we use certain React features like fragments or portals. Otherwise, it does the exact same thing as it creates a React element. Okay, we don't have to import React. The JSX compiler will solve this. Personally, though, I continue to use whenever I work with JSX, and partially that we still need to import. Okay, let me just search for JSX transformer. Here they have it in old one 2020. The new transform you can use JSX without importing React. The number of concepts you need to learn. Yeah, this upgrade will not change the JSX syntax and is not required. Keep working as usual and there are no plans to remove the support of it. Okay. Okay, instead of this one, it will be this. Okay. this code is equivalent to this code. Expression slot. We use the same trick for dynamic attribute values. Here's an example. This one element equal to this, and we see above. Slot id attribute for the id attribute. Okay. Now so id is fixed. Values to be dynamic. We can put any variance expression in here, not just variables. You can replace that with that. When you compile the code, it doesn't actually get evaluated. We have written some logic which will turn the user email string into replacing the character at the red character with a dash. But that only happens when you run the code. When JSX compiled it to JS, we copy over everything between these squiggly brackets. We don't call any functions or run any of the logic that happens later when the process the JavaScript runs in the browser. Okay, so JSX actually won't run anything. It will just copy whatever is here. It will just copy and paste here. When we run JavaScript, then it will get replaced. Compile time and runtime. At runtime, React will automatically convert types as needed when supplying attributes in expression slot. For example, these two elements are identical. In the first, we are setting the required attribute equal to the string true, and so the boolean true is converted to the string true. Pass either numbers or strings for numeric attributes. It's possible to set attribute to true by specifying only the key like this. Means are equivalent. Okay. Wait a second. And so the boolean true is converted to string true. Okay, type conversion it is. Okay, both are valid. Name equal to tag equal to name. Log of tag. This. When it comes to JavaScript objects, name is equivalent to name of name and not name of true. Hybrid between this, so it can be ambiguous when you're looking at JSX through an HTML and you expect the value to be true, but if you look at it through JavaScript lens, you expect the value to be equal to the key. Even some talk about deprecating the attribute only syntax. I had to keep it for now, but it wouldn't surprise me if this was removed in the future. I just feel like something like that. Okay, click that. Start the game. On that, apply. Potential flaws. One is this should be the class name. This is fine. I think that's the one. Let's check. Okay, let's go to the next one. This is the HTML background color, and here they are adding for my style background color to be red. For name, it should be for it's something else other than that. And input type text only. I think that is the issue. Your name is fine, Follow file input text is equal to file receiver design. I think only that's the one. Oh, try again. Okay. Your name, input type, style should be having two braces. But let's see this also. Okay. What is it that this is making? Okay, input, I think input should have a closing brace. What else is missed here? Your name is not that of a concern. Let's reveal the answer. Yes, so that is one thing. Label, it should be HTML4. Yeah, that's what I selected, right? On the 3 pin tie. What did I select? Only these two. They should have been an object. Okay, let's see the next one. I think I need to replay again. First is class equal to thing is wrong. Style opacity 0, background color is wrong. And what else? Button should be fine. I think only those two. Opacity is okay. Background color is the thing that is wrong. Yes. And this is article, and your header, class name okay. H1 Candace, this one is okay. A data is subscribed to, and style is also fine. Tab index, should I be camel case? This can be string, or this type portion will be done. Header is okay. Article, I think only that, but let's see. Okay, there's something else as well. Style, you have a object. Should it be a single comma instead of two? Let's check this also. No. Only for this then. Tab index, no. Okay, let's reveal. Okay, this is also not allowed. Let's see. Okay, it should be like this only. Data attribute should be in hyphen style instead of camel cased. Okay. Let's check the next one. Now this one, submit button form. Input type is hidden. Button area label, should it be this or should it be an hyphen? Okay, SVG. I'm not that much aware of SVG. I think there should be one issue. These all are fine. Line should be closed. Line should be closed. What else? Area label is also fine, but this should be closed. button, and input is closed. Button is closed. The switch is, oh, button is getting closed here, but okay, I think it refers to the area label 1. Okay, let's see. Okay, it should be capital L. Oh, it should be hyphen and not this one. And stroke dash array, this should be camel cased, and yeah, it should be closed. Let's play again, because in this, first is this class, this one. Okay, next, and here it should have been an object again. Label, it should be HTML for, and input should be closed. Okay, here div, again it should be a class name. Background should be this, and I think that's it. Those two other things. Check. Next, check all that apply. This one, article header class name is fine. H1 is also fine. This data is subscribed, it should be like this. And tab index, font size is comma, opacity is also comma. Check. Next, and next, last one, form, it should be hyphened, and this should be camel cased, and this should have been a closing. Awesome. So I'll take a break over here, and I'll continue with the revision in the next stream. So thanks for watching.